Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show, Serving Nerve, where we talk about whatever we want. And today we're going to be just going through a TikTok cringe compilation. I figured we would be able to find anything disgusting and annoying on TikTok. So let's just do it. We'll get through it. And then we'll just say screw it. And I'm going to go eat some cinnamon buns after this. But let's just do this and see where it all goes.
Hi. When I call myself fat, I'm not calling myself ugly. I'm not calling myself worthless. I'm not calling myself a monster. I'm just calling myself fat.
I'm already going to point out, we do have societal connotations with individuals who call themselves fat thinking they're ugly. I just don't understand why people have to make a TikTok about this. It's like you don't need a TikTok to bring you assurance or to prove a point. You can just live your life and the point will be proven through your existence. I get the point being made here. Like, this individual doesn't want to be, considered demeaning to themselves when they say they're fat and they want to kind of change the name of the game. But if you're trying to, explain this to normal people in society, they're just not going to care. I don't even think they're going to be confused. I think they're just going to not care. Nobody cares.
I could have my tummy out, even if it's just on TikTok for clout. And if you got something to say, shut your mouth, cause I'm a hot-ass bitch.
And I'm making content out of it, which is also ironic. Do you guys not find it comical that somebody online will take a video from somebody else online that is doing something absolutely cringeworthy and then criticize it and then get all the clout that that person was probably thinking to get? It's like a true irony. And honestly, it's kind of diabolical. Nowadays, you can barely get away with even criticizing somebody, but this is like you're just asking for somebody to make fun of you in the comments section, which is almost genius. Yes, this is the kind of thing that will blow up your channel or blow up your, TikTok. You're going to attract a bunch of clicks and likes or dislikes or whatever. People are going to click on the video, comment, interact with it, and then it's going to propel your channel algorithmically. And then hypothetically, if you have other content on here, you're going to be able to kind of have that content pushed as well. And people might not even realize this kind of content unless it's a consistent thing that you do. So it's kind of interesting. I like the idea of actually finding the line between being provocative or provoking people to want to interact with you just on the basis of you doing something ridiculous, but it's like a one-off so that you can kind of get away with promoting other content to people unintentionally. It's interesting. I've never really done it, but it's interesting nonetheless.
This is my announcement that I'm fat and I'm perfectly okay with that. And if you're not, find a new fucking hobby.
I also will flex amongst this. I haven't worked out in a long time. I've been doing a little bit of cardio. Went running for the first time in years because I moved and now I've got a place I can run. Went for an hour, mainly because I got lost and I couldn't find my way back home. So that was great. But I destroyed my back and I did not stretch. I didn't do anything. I just ran. And I woke up the next morning and I was gone. But we'll give a mighty, minute, weak muscle flex. A weak muscle baby flex amongst the masses. Just to also flex for no good reason other than to troll.
Wait, are you wearing a bra?
No, I took that thing off. It was getting in the way of my girls.
Maddox, I command you to put a bra on this instant.
I refuse. My melons were meant to be free.
Maddox, cease this foolishness.
I can jiggle if I want to.
Is this gonna be I swear to God, I have to ask, am I gonna get in trouble, for having this? Is this nudity? I don't think it's nudity. It is a little bit uncomfortable looking. Every person I've talked to that has large boobs, large boobas, has to wear a bra. They have to, because it's so uncomfortable to have them just hanging. I feel actually, maybe if your stomach is in the way of it, no shade, but if your stomach is in the way of it, maybe it'll uplift them a little bit and not be as uncomfortable. But I knew this one chick in middle school who had triple, massive boobas, and I feel really bad. She was in constant back pain. She actually had to get breast reduction surgery before she even went to high school because it was that painful for her and it caused her chronic back pain because they were that heavy, and she had to wear very strong bras, otherwise she would just be uncomfortable all the time. And a lot of other people I've talked to also say, bras, they're kind of where it's at in regards to comfort. I'm not one to talk because I never wear a bra, usually because there's not really much going on down there, so I can kind of get away with it. But even when my little, non-honkables have been, bigger through just gaining weight consistently and whatnot, they've never been super duper uncomfortable out of a bra other than running. Running wise, that's where it becomes really painful. You should always run with a bra. I don't think this person is really running. I could be wrong, but whatever. Again, though, I just don't understand why we put this kind of thing on TikTok. I don't understand what the, like, point of this is. Like, I'm trying to always find the deeper meaning to this. Like, what does this prove and what does this justify? And it truly does nothing but imposes, like, vanity or something. Or is like, yeah, I don't wear a bra. Look at me. Big boobs. Blah, blah. But it's like, it's not liberating. It's just, like, in the eyes of some, probably disgusting or unlikable or unpleasurable. And then to others, it's going to be objectifying and belittling and also maybe somewhat sexualizing if they're into that kind of thing. So I don't really see the bonus to this.
Ooh, I can leave my bra behind, 'cause my boobs don't bounce, and if they don't bounce, well, they're no boobs of mine.
I was waiting for something to happen, but it was just jiggling on camera again. Like, what's with the jiggling on camera? Obviously, some of this has to be, like, sexualized or fetishized in some capacity. Like, this is not normal. This is not, like, a normal thing to be doing. And I don't care if you're, like, 110 pounds or 500 pounds. I don't really believe in the idea of being, like, overly sexual online to garner likes and views and hit a, like, more fetish-oriented audience. Maybe if I were, like, naturally more feminine, I'd be more inclined for that kind of game. But honestly, I just don't see the, like, benefit to this. It very likely could destroy any professional career you can acquire in the future, so I just don't see the benefit. Like, the net benefit is so, like, minute at the beginning for most individuals who try to do this, but I could be incorrect. Also, you know, the one thing that really makes me kind of sad for this person, and, like, I have no reason to, like, really criticize this person. Like, they're just a person, but other than the, you know, the jiggling on camera thing, I don't understand that. But the one thing that makes me kind of sad is, like, you can see that she's struggling to move. Like, there's not a point of comfort to this. Like, it must be so uncomfortable to be this physically big. Like, it must be so physically uncomfortable to have to operate in any space or just sit with yourself. Like, when I've been, like, super overweight, which I haven't really been insanely overweight before, but when I've been over what my body's natural, like, enjoyable range is, I physically can feel that. And that hasn't been more than, like, 30 pounds. Like, 30 pounds above my weight range. So when you're getting into the hundreds, I can't imagine the amount of pressure and discomfort that must come with you just existing and taking a breath. Like, it's terrible. It's really sad. I have my pity for these individuals.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure something out, right? A lot of men claim that they don't like big girls, right? Yeah, okay, whatever. But anyways, so they claim they don't like big girls. But what I think is so weird is, like, when I talk to a friend or a client and they're telling me the story about how they got cheated on, they always get cheated on with big girls.
I'm not trying to be weird, and I'm not trying to, like, belittle, like, everybody who is fatter for being insecure or anything like that. But the one thing I can theorize about this is the individual cheating would want somebody as a side piece who is willing to be cheated with. Like, they're willing to be a side piece. They want somebody who's more insecure or more, like, desperate, because some fatter people will be likely more desperate or more willing to be a side piece because they'll still get attention from a man in this situation. So if somebody's trying to cheat, like, they'll go for somebody insecure usually, or somebody who will keep it to themselves, or something they can hide easily. And then also, if they're caught, maybe they'll want to make it look better. I don't know. I'm trying to think about how this would work. But also, some people just like bigger girls. Like, that is a thing. I don't think there's any, like, verifiable proof as to how big is too big for some guys. Pretty sure if you can stick it in, then you win. But, you know, when it comes to this kind of thing, the only thing I can assume is this is actually really sad because it plays on the insecurities of individuals. And also, in a cheating situation, you would want somebody insecure to cheat with on your partner who you are cheating on. So that I can only assume that. I'm not trying to say that all fat people are insecure, but I am going to say that I assume in a cheating situation, they'd go for somebody insecure and they could be fat. So that's just one idea. I don't know. I could be wrong.
So somebody's lying. And I think we all know who it is.
How is this a trend? How is this a trend? I don't understand. What is the point of you getting in your underwear on camera? Why is this, like, what is the point? I don't care if you're skinny or you're fat. I don't understand this. Like, why are you demeaning yourself in this regard? Like, I'm not trying to be a dick. Maybe it's not demeaning. I don't see it as liberating, though. It's like, what is the success of driving your confidence and joy from the internet? Like, even if everybody praises you, what is the point of this? Like, a genuine question I have is, do these individuals derive gratification by having people accept them online because they're fat? That I do not understand. Especially instead of somebody actually liking you for what you can create or like something you can make of yourself more than just a physical form. I just do not understand. That swoop, I'm so sorry. That reminded me of my swoop when it got really angry. I did cut my hair recently. It's getting everywhere. I'm sorry. This would be me. Like, this would be me. Minus, like, you know, the dyeing of hair. But this. That would be me. All swoop. Like, a total vibe. Like, what the fuck? What ridiculousness. It's like, somehow, I'm looking in a mirror.
Little New Year's Eve dry run. Trying on the dress, trying on the shirt. Happy early New Year's.
I don't understand why this is on a cringe compilation. They're just bigger. Like, I don't understand why this is on a cringe compilation. They're not really saying anything that's particularly insane. They're just a couple. Like, this is the thing I have to criticize about cringe compilations. Just because they're fat doesn't mean it's cringe. I don't know. Am I, like, desensitized to cringe now, and I'm expecting, like, an explosion of diarrhea or something, like something absolutely horrible? But I don't really see a point in this being, like, I don't know why you put this kind of thing on the internet. I just don't get it. Like, I don't understand putting your personal life on the internet like this. Although, like, we all do it, I guess. But, like, I just don't see why this is on a cringe compilation. I'm sorry, okay? It's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying finding, like, something that genuinely deserves to be criticized, or something that you can make a point of, and then something that just doesn't make any sense to be on a cringe compilation because it's just a couple being a couple. I don't know, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm being actually contradictive because... fuck. I'm fucking stupid. Just forget it. That is cringe. Hand under the dress. That's a mess. No, get that out of here. Get that out of here.
Okay, this might be super niche content, but if anyone else grew up fat, is this something that you can relate to, or like, is it just me? So a couple of weeks ago, someone that I don't know very well did something really nice for me and thoughtful in a social setting. Like, it was a really small thing, and I was like, oh, why would he do that? And the only way that my brain could rationalize it was like, oh, he must fancy me, because why else would anyone do that? But at the same time, I knew that something in my logic wasn't making sense, and so I really thought about it. When I was thinking about it, I realised that I came to the conclusion that he must fancy me because straight men so often will just not give a fat woman the time of day to even be polite. Like, if you even... Today, I made eye contact with a man by accident because I just looked in his direction, and he was like, he looked away so quickly because he didn't want me to get the wrong idea, I guess. I don't know, maybe not, but, like, that happens to me a lot. So basically I realised that, like, I took an action that was, like, bare minimum polite as something much more because I received such a lack of respect from men because I'm fat.
I've had the same perceptions at points in my life with somebody being very nice to me. It's because I grew up in a neighborhood, a city, a town where people were just not like that. And it's not like I looked particularly weird or anything like that at certain points in my life. I looked pretty average. But even so, I've operated on the basis of, like, what does this person want from me? They're being nice to me. This is weird. This is, like, especially when I came to America. People are way nicer in America. When I went to Virginia, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Why is everybody so nice? Like, what do they want? Like, it's weird when you're so used to having a certain perception of how people will treat you, in spite of your demeanor or anything like that. And then you go to a place where it's contrasting and you're not used to that. Sometimes it's circumstantial, it's based on location. It could have something to do with you. It could have something to do with your fatness, you know? Like, you being fat definitely could. Especially if, like, you're not used to that. Because I feel like if I saw a fat person and I were staring at them, I'd want to look away if they tried to stare at me back. Because I wouldn't want to offend them in that regard. I feel like it would be offensive if you're just staring at somebody going like, oh, they're fat. Like, I feel like that is offensive and rude. So maybe in that regard, yeah, you would want to look away. But even so, like, I think this is an insecurity of the intentions of people. Could have something to do with your fatness, because that's your life experience, but I don't think it's exclusive to the matter.
Polite as something much more because I receive such a lack of respect from men because I'm fat.
And she, like, did Poseidon's bit. She was very loyal to her father, and... oh, I'm distracted. She was very loyal to her father, and in the war for land and sea.
What the fuck are we... This is disgusting. This kind of thing disgusts me. I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's not because you're fat. It's because, like, you're just playing with yourself on camera. This, in some capacity, has to be sexual. There's no way this is not sexual. If it isn't, I will eat my entire top hat. One moment. Swear to God. I'll eat this entire top hat. This entire goddamn top hat, alright? This whole top hat will go inside of me, and I'll shove this cane up my ass. I swear to God. Okay? This is fetishized. There's no way this isn't fetishized. And I'm offended. I don't like seeing fetishized material online. I don't like seeing it. Okay? I don't like watching the naughty on camera. I don't like watching Cornhub. But the one thing I really can't stand is people just distracting and being like, sorry, I'm distracted. Let me grab my rolls. It's weird. You know, I'm not trying to be a jerk because, like, I get it. We all do weird stuff. We're weird. But I feel like, this is my perception, of course, so it's subjective. But I do think in some capacity this is somewhat fetishized, and also this somehow objectifies you, and also nobody's listening to your story.
She was like covering up all the way in the water, and Zeus was like, I don't like that. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn you into a roasty monster and chain you to the floor of the ocean, and you'll have incredible thirst for water all the time forever, because I can't be the sport. And Poseidon didn't care. Before Chrysis, she became, like, there aren't a whole lot of descriptions about what she looks like, but seems like a nasty monster. Also might quite literally be the embodiment of a whirlpool. So adventurers would have to sail.
Does this not end? Like, is this the same? We're telling a story about Poseidon and shit, and we got, like, somebody grabbing their rolls the whole time. I'm not going to have everybody watch this. This is depressing. It just goes. It just goes. It just doesn't end. I don't want to listen to it, my dude. I can't. It literally never ends. The seconds are passing, and so is my life. Oh my God, it took forever to get through that. Jesus Christ.
Fat people only. How do you understand the term midsize?
Okay, I have been thinking about this since I saw a size 8 designer describe herself as midsize, and it was like, you wear a size 8. You can shop anywhere. You do not need a special description for your body. You're straight size. Be straight size. And it feels a bit like people that cling to the term midsize, especially if they wear under a size 14, really are doing the size washing equivalent of leaning forward and pointing out how their body has rolls as a way to align themselves with the oppression of fatness without actually having to be fat. And to be honest, for the most part, I don't really care how people describe their bodies. I do care the fact that brands are starting to capitalize on this and offering mid-size as their definition of size inclusion, which is harmful to actual fat people.
To be fair, I gotta point out, Walmart's been doing this a long time. If you ever go into the underwear department, please don't do this. God, I do not want a bunch of, like, whoever's watching this, 18 to 34-year-olds mostly, running into the Walmart underwear department and, like, looking around trying to find the sizing, okay? But I remember growing up, even as a young tot, they literally only had, like, 3 kinds of underwear in the packages because we were cheap, okay? We were cheap, all right? They had the small, medium, large. Basically, they're all the same. I might be stupid, but I've never been able to relate with the concept of sizing anyways, because I've never fit into, like, most clothing properly. Something's not gonna fit at some point. Like, you know, you can be, like, a big person fit into a lot of stuff. Obviously, you can't fit into, everything. And then you can be a really small person, can't fit into everything. But if you're on the middle end of it, and you're like a normal weight, there are things that also don't fit you. Like, yeah, you can shop anywhere, but it doesn't mean you're going to find something. Now, I'm not trying to shut this person down, but the one thing I don't understand is this whole, mid-size, mid-fat, mainly mid-fat, skinny, but not. Like, I don't understand what they refer to. Like, I don't know what a size 14 is. I don't know what a size, 18 is. I've seen XL shirts. I own some. But I don't understand what we're associating as being, overweight clothing, normal weight clothing, fat, small fat, skinny fat, mid-size. I'm just confused as to what the whole scale of measurement is. But one thing I will agree with this lady is the idea of capitalizing on fat people. All you gotta do is just not buy what is categorized as mid-size, mid-fat or whatever. Just don't buy it. Don't endorse the company that you don't like buying things from because of the way they say things or the way they promote things to people because they're fat. But the other thing is, this is marketing towards you so that you can find what you want and buy things from them. So it's like a double-edged sword. Yeah, you can denounce the companies that provide these clothing styles or whatever, or these categorizations for clothing styles or clothing in general, but then also you lose the access to what you can actually fit into. So it's I don't know, man. Sizing, I don't know if it's for guys too, but sizing for women in general, a nightmare. Every woman has some level of different boob to butt size, waist to hip ratio. It's a nightmare to try and actually navigate it. No matter what size you are, it's a disaster. Unless you're literally just a stick or a very particular body size. I don't know, man. I've never been able to really fit into a lot of these kinds of things that are categorized in my size.
This is the perfect video to talk about the fact that thin people feel obligated, they have the right to talk about larger bodies just because they are in a thin one. Y'all obsession with us is getting out of control. Just straight up weird.
The one thing I have to point out is I can agree with the idea of constantly making TikTok cringe compilations and then talking about fat people as a thin person and acting like you have the perspective on these individuals or having the same perspective as these individuals, because you don't. Listen, I've never been 500 pounds, never been 300 pounds, never been even 200 pounds, all right? I have no right to say that I am, I've been fat, actually fat. I would categorize myself as having been extremely overweight and categorically obese, but that doesn't really mean that I've had the same consistent experiences in some regards as these incredibly large women. Saying that, though, criticism's kind of able to be made by anyone. And also I have to point out, you putting yourself online and talking about your fatness is what also perpetuates people to talk about you talking about your fatness. You coming online, ironically, and talking about this is what will cause other people who are smaller than you, and in this case, somebody who's a normal weight, talking about you on a compilation and also on a video like I'm doing right now. So it's I don't know, man. It doesn't really lead to any success rate. It's just going to increase the content creation. The more content you make, the more content everyone else will make about you. So, I don't know.
You guys wake up and create these fake scenarios in your head just to further paint fat people in a negative light. There aren't a bunch of fat people trying to break down your door to date you. Sorry. This video was strictly made to just further push the agenda of fatphobia, period. If society didn't paint fat people in a negative light, there would be no reason why anybody wouldn't want to date us. But instead, you guys want to hold on to this logic that you're not dating fat people all on your own, even though society coerced you into feeling that way.
I'm a little bit out of context in this regard, so my apologies. But in general, I feel I don't really judge people for being fat, or I judge people more for the things they're saying right now on this compilation. Maybe it's because you're looking to judge when you make these videos, you talk about these kinds of things. You're trying to make content in some capacity, or you're trying to, create your perspective around a certain topic so that people can understand where you're coming from when you talk about these things. And I don't see anything wrong with somebody not wanting to date somebody who might be dying earlier. It's the same thing if somebody's severely anorexic. It's not hot. Trust me, it's not hot. If you're too fat or too thin, it's not sexy. People don't want to go out with somebody who might die sooner. It's just what it is. I don't know.
Two heads at night. Fat people are some of the most hilarious, gorgeous, amazing people that I have ever met. The plus size community on this app is absolutely fucking amazing, and people should be honored to date anybody from that platform. But I'm not surprised at this video, because lately there has been an influx of people coming onto social media just to talk about how much they hate fat people. And not only that, I am quite disappointed in TikTok in itself as well, because even when you try to report the videos of people being bullied or people talking shit or harassing fat people, TikTok says that there's no violation. Meanwhile, the comment section is literally a safe space for people to commiserate with how much they hate fat people.
Now, to be fair, you can't control a comment section when you create a piece of media. You control the media that you have. I'm trying to give some grace here because it's not inherently a ridiculous thing to say. Like, some of this is not inherently ridiculous. It just doesn't make that much sense because it's somewhat contradictive. Like, it's one, out of context. So, relating to the topic at hand, we don't actually know what the topic is. Like, so I can't actually gauge, like, what this is. Like, what does this mean? Like, it's so out of context. I don't know, my guys.
So that is not a preference. A preference is, I prefer blondes over brunettes.
No, listen, okay. I have to say this, because I feel like people think that just because you're not sexually attractive, it's somehow offensive. It doesn't mean you're a horrible person if somebody doesn't find you sexually attractive. I've also been found very sexually unattractive to people I've tried to court, because some people just don't want to go out with somebody who's a weirdo online doing video editing who looks like they came out of 2012, okay, with an emo swoop and a coffee cup in hand 24/7, and not even able to go to, like, non-blonky clonky earheads or whatever outside of the house, okay? That didn't make any sense. And that's also why I'm kind of a turnoff. It's not on the basis of, like, being offended when somebody does not want to date you or finds you sexually unattractive. Like, I just don't understand this. Being fat is a physical form. Being muscular is a physical form. Being too skinny or being super skinny, it's a physical form. Physical forms in any capacity. Doesn't matter. And I mean, like, listen, I'm not trying to sound discriminant in any regard, but when I say this, if you're fat or if you're skinny, if you have a certain body weight, if you're a certain race, if you have a certain hair color, a certain eye color, if your teeth are ugly, if your nose is weird, if you have a naturally rounder face, if you have, a natural non-hourglass figure, you're more like, I don't know, an apple form. You know, maybe some people don't like that. It's not discriminant, or it's not offensive. You shouldn't be offended by people not wanting to bang you, or, find you sexually gratifying, or have find they don't prefer you. You shouldn't be offended by people's preferences over you or others. Like, trust me, we've all been in situations. Every single person who hits any level of adulthood, please God, I hope adulthood. Any person, man or woman, has been looked at by somebody and has been, like, probably thought of as, I wouldn't go out with them, or I wouldn't fuck them, or I wouldn't be with them. It's not offensive. It's just what it is. It doesn't mean you're a horrible person. It doesn't mean they think you're a disgusting, grotesque being. It just means they don't want to date you or bang you. I'm just saying, I've talked to a lot of dudes, a lot of chicks, alright? I've talked to people about their preferences. They always say something different. They always say, like, yeah, I prefer a certain race, I prefer a certain, hair color, I prefer a certain height, weight. Like, I prefer larger boobs, bigger butt. I prefer somebody with smaller boobs, smaller butt. Like, everybody has a different preference, and it's not offensive if somebody doesn't prefer you. It's just what it is. You'll find somebody who loves you for you, as long as you have a good personality and you are likable in a personal sense. And that's another thing, is I feel like all these people are kind of lumped together just for being fat, and I think they kind of dig their own graves in that regard. And then it makes it even harder for them to actually use those personalities they have, the personalities that this person's talking about that make them so glamorous and outstanding. They get lost in this cesspool of body positivity and fat acceptance, or in this weird echo chamber where it's all about being fat and being body positive, when it's not necessary. Like, you shouldn't associate that as your identity, because people are not going to find that particularly enticing either. People will love you for you. They'll find your personality is great because it's your personality. It's a part of you. So I feel like, again, like, this kind of mindset can destroy your intentions towards being your own person. I also find that with community, it's such a double-edged sword, because it's so easy to get lost in a community and then not be your own person, because you're trying to conform even more to that community than you otherwise would, because you have one or two things that are similar to you that match from that community towards you, and that kind of, like, drags you in. So I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of this kind of thing.
Saying you don't date fat people or never want to is absolutely discrimination. Because the reason you are not dating fat people is rooted in hate. You guys prove every day how much you hate fat people. The fact that you guys refuse to educate yourself on the plus size experience, the fact that you guys never take any videos or body positivity movement videos seriously, the fact that you don't take fat feelings seriously is fatphobia. And lastly, just to leave with this, it is so ironic that the people talking shit about fat people are always thin, when at the end of the day, if you even mention anything remotely negative towards thin people, they will be mad as fuck in the comment section. Like, the people who make these videos can never take what they dish out. Which is exactly why this girl turned off her comments on all of her videos, and you can't stitch or duet any of them.
See, I'm sorry, it's so out of context. I mean, in this situation, it's probably the case, like, whatever. I'm not obviously, like, aware of what the situation is.
If you're gonna say something, say it with your whole chest. Thanks.
Well, tonight was not a good gym night, and I want to talk about it. Hopefully I can do this without rambling. I want to first clarify that I'm not one of those gym girlies that is going to the gym for a number on the scale. I'm fat, with love. I am a plus size person, but I'm not going to the gym to make myself smaller. I'm going there to move my body because it feels good, and it's good for my mental health. Being a plus size person, I have had bad experiences at the gym, as a lot of
I wish I could have this mindset, by the way, though, with, like, going to the gym for non-aesthetic purposes. Like, I try to just work out to be healthy, but there's always going to be something in my mind that's probably going to be, like, you know, get leaner, get more ripped. You know, that's just how I kind of brought myself up into sport. I did start getting into working out to change my body, in part to feel better, but a lot of it was to change my body. It's just one of those kinds of stages. I was a chubbier kid, so it kind of just, like, played in my mind. But, you know, I wish I had a mindset where I could actually just be like, want to work out just because I want to work out, feel good. It's just harsh. It's unforgiving. But yeah, a bad gym day does suck. It does suck.
A lot of fat people have, and like most fat people, that introduces a little bit of anxiety into my experiences moving forward. That being said, I am on social media enough to know about how men talk about fat women. Women in general, but particularly fat women. I don't expect everyone to open the door for me, but when I'm a foot behind you and you held the door open for the two guys in front of you, and then you let it slam in my face after you already looked back at me, okay, but you know what? Maybe I'm just in my head, right? Could have been a number of things. Go to the bathroom, place my bag down in front of one of the mirrors, turn around, tiny woman taking up entire mirror. She looks at me, I look at her, I grab my bag and move to another mirror. Once again, it's not personal. Girl, it's not because you're fat. She just needed the mirror, okay? Yes. You Stairmaster, then I go to treadmill, just doing some casual walking at an incline, you know, as one.
I'm so sorry, I'm a little confused. Is this like you're having people treat you badly or getting in your way? Like, that was a little all over the place. But yeah, you know, some people are assholes. They won't open the door for you. I've had people who will open the door for me, hold it open, and then other people just, like, let it fall. I've had friends do it. Like, it's just what it is. It's on the basis of convenience. It's, I don't know, man. We do, when we think about it, we'll pick flaw, or we'll pick issue with things, when sometimes there really is no rhyme or reason to them, but we associate them as being part of, oh, I'm fat, or oh, I'm short, or oh, it's because I'm this, it's because I'm a girl, it's because I'm a guy, it's because of all these things. Sometimes it's just what it is. And it's not to justify your experience as an individual, because also you can kind of gauge at times where it's like, yeah, he looked at me and then he literally closed the door on me, and like things like that, and that does suck. But, you know, now we're getting into the workout. How was the workout, my lady?
One does. And a lot of gyms have mirrors in front of areas. And in front of these treadmills is a huge mirror. Every single time that I looked up in a mirror, this one particular woman was staring at me. Every single time I looked up, she was already looking at me. So I eventually did one of these, and she looked away. Here's the thing. Do I know all three of these things could have had nothing to do with my body size? Yeah, I do know that. Have I also had strange men come up to me and tell me that I shouldn't be lifting weights because I should be focused on cardio right now?
Oh, that's so annoying. That annoys the fuck out of me. If someone's actually done that to you, bless your soul, because that is so annoying. One, building muscle is great in general for becoming more metabolically active. And also, any physical movement at any weight is awesome. Like, I don't care if it's to lose weight in this regard, or to, like, gain weight or anything like that. Physical movement, always healthy for you. You should always endeavor to be physically active. And when somebody's like, you shouldn't do this because it'll make you too bulky, or it won't burn as many calories or whatever, it's fucking asshole territory 101. And also, that chick looking at you, she probably was looking at you merely because, like, you're fat walking on a, you know, an incline treadmill, whatever, dealio bop. But also, unless that's the only, you know, apparatus to operate in the gym, because then she might be thinking, I want to use that and this person's not using it for the thing I want to use it for, and therefore I deserve to have it more. That kind of mindset as well. But if it's a thing where you start paying attention to somebody who's probably paying attention to you on the basis of you existing in the space that they're staring into, it's probably because you're fat. I'm not trying to be a dick, but it's probably just looking at you. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's probably because it is what it is. I usually try to come up with logical justifications for why things happen the way they do that are bypassing just physical weight, because that's so petty. But it's like, I don't know. She could have just been looking at you because you were a bigger girl. You never know. It's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. Like, it also depends, what are you wearing at the gym? It's not to be, like, rude, but if you have, like, something showing and somebody else is looking, it is what it is. I've had people look at me when I'm wearing something that's a little bit on the short side, if you get what I'm saying.
I have had that. In the moment, I just went, okay. But if that happened today, it'd be a very different story. The point of me sharing all this isn't just to say that this kind of stuff gets to me, but more to say, if you experience things like this too, and your experiences as a fat person buzz in your mind while experiencing these things, you are not alone. You're not alone. And even though I am much more confident now than I was when I was first getting unsolicited advice about my body from grown men, I'm not going to pretend that I don't have nights where I'm just a little too tired to be having to deal with this too. But I had to remind myself, I am in this gym for me. I deserve to be here just as much as anyone else. And if they're staring for good reason, because I'm cute as fuck.
See, this is the thing. It's like, I'm not trying to be weird, but when you have to say that, like, and justify it to an audience of individuals when you're talking to them, it's like, yeah, it can show your confidence regarding yourself, and you should be confident in yourself and your abilities. But the reality is, like, I feel like that's almost like you need to assure to yourself, like, I'm cute. Like, to me, I never think about being cute. I never think about being hot. I never think, maybe this is how I've turned out this way. Maybe I should start thinking that way. Maybe I'll be prettier like this lady, because she's better with makeup. Trust me on that one. But, you know what? I never think about that. I always think about, like, a very, automaton formation of physicality. I'm very mechanical with the way I think about myself. I always think it's either, you're physically fit or you're not physically fit. You're good with this or you're not good with this. You look like this or you look like this. But mainly, I don't really categorize myself as, like, anything, like, cute or anything like that. So I just don't understand why you'd have to justify that to an audience, but maybe that's just my delusion. But the one thing is, I do have my sympathies if somebody's actually, like, come up to this lady in the gym and started criticizing her regarding working out. And I've had people do weird things to me at the gym before. When I would go to the gym, I was, like, a teenager. I would have weird older men looking at me. It was just weird. There are creeps out there, It's just like, and you're not wearing anything crazy, but it's like, you're like a 16-year-old at the gym lifting some weights. There's gonna be somebody there every now and then that's gonna be a creep.
So are you. So find ways to move your body that feel comfy, that bring you joy. Please remember, for every douchebag there is judging you, there is someone like me rooting you on. Because I kind of needed that reminder tonight too. Okay. That's it. Bye.
So that's the video. See, this is the thing, is I feel like this wasn't that cringy. This was just some things out of context. Some things were weird. The weird fat grabbing, like, I thought this would be a longer compilation, but half of it was just this woman grabbing her rolls. A lot of weird roll grabbing. I don't understand what's wrong with people. This ending girl was probably the most decent of all, from what I can perceive. Like, I don't understand, and I've got my sympathies here. Like, I do have my sympathies regarding this matter. But, like, the one thing I just do not understand why we have to always go back to the whole thing about trying to find confidence as a fat person, or trying to, like, assure yourself. Like, you shouldn't gather assurance from the internet. I just don't understand what we're looking for here. Like, I don't know what the point of half of these videos are. Like, they don't prove anything. They justify nothing. They fetishize in some capacity. They find logic where there isn't any. Like, none of these things are real. Like, don't worry about, like, people judging you. People who judge you are usually just fucking losers anyways. When I see these videos, is I always see it, and I'm not trying to always look for it, but there are instances where I just see it, where it's like, you're trying to find gratification or justify your existence through the internet, through a comment section, through other people, online, particularly online. And it's like, why? Like, why? Do you think I online matter? No, I'm a pawn. Half the people online don't care. The other half are pawns too. Like, everybody online isn't real. Nothing matters. Like, to find that an audience garnered online has some level of control when you see a negative comment or a positive comment it's disappointing. You should find a level of gratification and well-being and value in the people who surround you in your personal life, your inner circle. The internet's a wonderful place. All right, it's a wonderful space to find information. It's a wonderful place to find people who are like-minded. But it also is a cesspool that can destroy your perception of yourself in reality because it makes you have all these weird fucking ideas that aren't real. Like, if I see a fat person on the street, I'm not going to think, oh God, they're fat. Oh God, they're ugly and disgusting and terrible. And I'm also not going to think, oh God, they're beautiful, amazing. Every now and then I do see a lovely lady who's got some good makeup going on and a good dress, and I wish I could rock it the same way. Not going to lie. And, you know, there are some people who I see that are fat that can rock a good dress more than I can. But the weirdness with all this online is just a little bit much. Like, I feel like we just need to calm down. And I mean, we're getting past the points of the fat acceptance movement being nuclear, but I just feel like it's always got to do with something about men now. It's feministic. It's always like, men judge me for this, men judge me for that. Everybody judges everybody for everything. It's just stupid. I don't know, man. You know, I don't even know what to take home with the video because I feel like I've taken nothing from this other than, like, why again are we online trying to come up with these justifications and assure each other? It's like, listen, if you're trying to find assurance in this lovely lady, all right, who isn't saying anything particularly truly horrible in any capacity, like, really, maybe you try and find assurance through her. Why? Why do you want somebody online to assure you? They probably, in real life, are mediocre at best. No shade to her. But I'm just pointing out, you know what? Like, if you see me online, the one thing I don't understand is, like, I've done the same things. I've made videos talking to you, an audience member, or to you, an individual who's passing by. And some of you have really enjoyed the videos I've made, and I'm like, what actually do I have in a valuable regard to provide information or camaraderie or perspective to these individuals who see my videos? And, like, I pick topics that I actually know about, or I always research, or I do something. Or I at least try and make it an interesting video, you know? I try and give some perspective, but in reality, I think it's all just ridiculous. Like, you know, like, I believe in what I say, of course, but the reality is, it's still, like, why would somebody watch me to, like, hear me talk? Like, I don't know, man. I'm starting to fall down the rabbit hole of, like, psychological baloney, so I'm gonna stop. But, like, I just don't understand why we're all always trying to find the justification with our existences through the internet. And also, like, talk to each other and, like, find community and stuff on the internet and do all this stuff. It's just asking for trouble. Just do what you want. Be your own person. Live your life. Like, I don't know, man. Anyways, that's the video. I have no idea what this was or what the point of this was. But it was a video, you know? Hopefully we can find something better next time. And, yeah, I will see you next time, my people. It has been lovely. Slater.